Just moments ago, Donnie McClurkin opened up in a way that left fans heartbroken and speechless. Known across the globe for a voice that's comforted generations, Donnie is now facing his own storm, and the message he just shared has shaken the entire gospel community. For someone whose songs have brought people through depression, heartbreak, and doubt, to now be the one asking for prayer, it feels like a deep, personal blow to those who've leaned on his strength for years. This isn't just another celebrity post or a publicity stunt. This was a man in pain, choosing to let the world see it. Donnie McClurkin has been the heartbeat of gospel music for decades. From Stand to We Fall Down, he's inspired believers around the world. But in a raw emotional video posted online, Donnie showed up not as the bold worship leader we're used to, but as a grieving, tired man sitting alone in his living room, trying to gather the words to explain what he was feeling. Dressed down and visibly shaken, he looked into the camera and began with something fans didn't expect: honesty. He admitted he was going through something he never thought he'd face, a deep personal loss that shook him to the core. His voice cracked, and he took several moments to compose himself before explaining that he'd lost someone incredibly close to him. He didn't say their name right away, but later sources confirmed it was a younger cousin who had quietly battled depression. Their passing was sudden and devastating. Donnie confessed that this kind of grief doesn't care how strong you are. In faith, it just hurts. The weight in his voice said it all. It wasn't just mourning a loss. He was exhausted, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. He pour out, he said, and sometimes there's nothing left to give. To yourself. The vulnerability of those words hit his audience hard. Thousands flooded the comments with love, condolences, and shock. Many had never seen Donnie this raw before. The man known for giving strength now needed it. He closed the video with a simple plea: pray for me. And for anyone going through silent pain, he begged them not to suffer alone like his cousin had. That video spread like wildfire. Millions of views poured in within hours. Gospel fans, fellow artists, pastors, and everyday people responded with a wave of emotion. But as the messages of support came in, so did something else: realizations. Looking back, many fans started to piece things together. Moments in past interviews where Donnie hinted at being tired. Lyrics that suddenly felt like cries for help. Canceled events that now made sense. Donnie has carried so much, for so long, that few knew how deeply he'd been hurting. His childhood trauma, surviving sexual abuse from relatives, left lifelong scars. He shared his testimony over the years bravely, but no one ever fully grasped how much he still carried inside. In a 2001 interview, he said it changed him, broke something in him. But he held on to God. And even as his career took off and he stood on the biggest stages in gospel music, those shadows never left. Behind closed doors, depression often lingered. In a 2020 interview, Donnie admitted that he would finish singing about deliverance and go back to his room to cry alone. He felt like he was giving everyone else hope, but had none left for himself. That level of honesty struck a chord. He was the voice people turned to in their lowest moments, but his own lows were deep and lonely. Loneliness is another thread that's been woven throughout Donnie's story. He's spoken about it in interviews: his desire for companionship, the pain of failed relationships, and the silence in his home that sometimes feels louder than cheering crowds. For someone with such global influence, his personal life has often been painfully quiet. He once said he feared dying alone, and that fear seemed to echo louder in this recent video. Over the past few years, fans noticed Donnie pulling back a bit. Fewer appearances, fewer public engagements. Some chalked it up to age or rest. But in hindsight, looks more like emotional exhaustion, burnout, maybe even a quiet battle with grief long before this latest loss. He's been pouring into others for decades. But who was pouring into him? His message opened a floodgate, not just of support, but of conversation. In a world that often expects spiritual leaders to be invincible, Donnie's vulnerability cracked, the mask wide open. He wasn't hiding anymore. And the gospel community didn't ignore it. They rallied. Kirk Franklin, a longtime friend, posted a prayerful song clip saying, "You stood for so many. Let us stand for you now." Artists like Tasha Cobbs, Leonard, Jonathan McReynolds, and Cease Winans all echoed love and gratitude for Donnie, some even sharing personal moments when he supported them during their darkest days. Tasha, in tears on her Instagram story, revealed that Donnie had once called her at her breaking point and helped her choose life over quitting music. "He was there for me when no one else was," she said. "Now it's our turn." Shirley Caesar, the gospel legend, weighed in as well. She reminded everyone that Donnie's transparency wasn't weakness. It was ministry. Her words, simple and strong, reminded people that even those who hold the microphone need a moment to breathe. Social media became a wave of testimonies. Fans poured out their stories of how Donnie's songs carried them through the loss of loved ones, heartbreak, illness, and spiritual doubt. One man posted a video holding a picture of his wife who had passed, sharing how Donnie's song, The Prayer, played at both their wedding and her funeral. Another woman recalled being 17 and suicidal when she stumbled upon Donnie's testimony. It saved her life. What this moment has done is ignite something bigger. It's forced churches, fans, and gospel leaders to talk about what's been swept under the rug for too long: the emotional toll of ministry. Young pastors and worship leaders began posting their own burnout stories. They started asking tough questions. Why do we expect perfection from spiritual leaders? Why do we ignore their humanity? Donnie's video didn't just open hearts. It opened a wound that needed healing. And now, everyone's wondering what comes next for Donnie McClurkin. Is this the end of his ministry? Is he stepping back for good? So far, he hasn't said yes or no. But the signs point toward a major shift. Just days after the video, he canceled 2 major appearances. Insiders say he's taking time to rest, grieve, and heal without the demands of public ministry. Some even suspect he might pause through the rest of the year. But if you listen closely to things Donnie's said over the years, this moment doesn't feel like a sudden decision. It feels like the culmination of many private thoughts finally reaching the surface. Back in 2021, he said in an interview that he felt like he'd said everything he needed to say through music, and now he was learning how to listen. He also spoke about the temptation to step away not in defeat, but in pursuit of peace. Some fans believe he's being led into a new kind of ministry, one that's rooted in healing, not performing, a space where spiritual leaders can cry, talk about depression, and find help. Donnie hinted at it himself. "Maybe this pain has a purpose," he said. That statement has sparked conversations about whether he might start a podcast, a counseling initiative, or even retreats focused on mental health for pastors and worship leaders. Christian therapists have already said they'd send their clients to whatever space Donnie creates. And of course, the question on every fan's mind will he sing again? He didn't say no. But he didn't say yes either. In the video, he confessed that even music wasn't soothing him right now, that sometimes the songs weren't enough. That level of honesty says more than any press release could. If he does return to music, it probably won't be for the charts. It'll be for the heart. Maybe a stripped-down album about grief, healing, and surrender. If so, it could be his most powerful work yet. One thing is certain: whether he sings again or not, Donnie's legacy is unshakable. He survived abuse, loss, scandal, and heartbreak. He sold millions of records, pastored for decades, and led countless souls to Christ through songs and sermons. But now, his greatest ministry might just be his openness, his willingness to say, "I'm not okay," and in doing so, give others permission to do the same. Because sometimes, the bravest thing a leader can do isn't to preach from a pulpit. It's to sit in the silence, cry, and let the world see the truth. Donnie did that. And in doing so, he may have started a healing movement bigger than he ever imagined.